welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man who has a thing about making executive decisions about watching either Captain Ron or Escape from New York. It's John Levingood.
That's not always that easy, though. I mean, there's a lot of pressure there. Like, Steven Seagal isn't always there to give you that burst of confidence before he explodes in the plane at the last minute.
And also, like, these two movies are so different. Escape from New York and Captain Ron.
Of course, like, Captain Ron is a movie that I could watch like 3 days in a row. If each day someone said like, "Oh, I never saw Captain Ron," I'd be like, "I'm putting it in." I don't know if I could do that with Escape from New York.
It's just so grungy.
I don't know. Like, I could do that 2 weeks back to back.
Gotcha.
But Captain Ron 3 days in a row. Easy 3 days in a row.
If Martin Short's scenes were cut out of Captain Ron, I'd watch it every other week for the rest of my life.
Well, I mean, but he's the catalyst.
But he's so angry and mean.
I know he is.
It's really, it gets grating. Like, I think,
like when he's correcting him about, no, I said gorillas. You meant gorillas, and like he's.
I was just like, just enjoy yourself, man. Like, you're on a boat. Like, enjoy yourself. Like, Captain Ron really wasn't that bad.
I guess his biggest real concern at the end of the day is, are you going to get my family lost? But that really shouldn't matter so early in the voyage.
Yeah, like on the first day.
Yeah, because everyone's having a good time. The kids are having a good time. His wife's having a good time. They're doing fun things. But he's like, "You're lost, aren't you, Ron?" And it's like, well, but even if he is, that doesn't matter for a while.
Yeah, like, what do you know about boating?
I don't remember. Was it like, weren't they going out for like 3 or 4 days?
Yeah. I don't see land, Ron.
Oh, it's out there, boss.
Ted's Island. So
Swab.
So I brought that up because if you go to Movies, Films, and Flicks, FLIX, on Facebook, and you looked at our pinned, post, you will see that we're accepting votes for what Kurt Russell movie we should talk about on our 150th episode. And right now, between our website, Twitter, personal messages, and Facebook, it's coming down to 5 movies. And I'm not going to say what 5 movies they are, but it's 5 movies that are clearing away they're winning. If this was a race, they'd be like 100 yards ahead of the rest of the pack.
I am happy that like at least one person said something like used cars, though.
Yeah. And we got an unlawful entry.
You're right.
And we actually got someone to listen to one of our episodes because we did a Bone Tomahawk episode.
Yeah, we got a Bone Tomahawk vote.
So
yeah.
Johnny Numb. And I mean, listen, if people want to vote for Bone Tomahawk, I'll talk about that movie all day. I think it's great.
Johnny made a good point, though. He said, like, and this really shouldn't affect our listenership, really, but he's like, the movies that I want to pick from my gut are the movies that everyone talks about all the time, though. Yeah. He's like, not enough people are talking about Bone Tomahawk. And then you're like, we did Bone Tomahawk. But here you go. Here's the link.
I mean, that's a niche movie, though. I mean, where that movie goes.
Yeah, when you see someone get tomahawked in half while naked and upside down through the groin, your life has pretty much changed at that point irreversibly.
Yeah, you can't recommend that movie. Like, Johnny Numb, like, I have a bunch of friends I would recommend it to, but, my mother would be very angry at me.
Yeah, so obviously the world knows that I love horror, and you're quite a horror fan. Maybe a third of our episodes are horror topical, right? But like, I don't think I'd want to do an episode on Bone Tomahawk. I like that we did Bone Tomahawk as one of 3 movies in a discussion, because it's such a mean movie.
The dialogue though, it's a mean movie with very lyrical dialogue. I mean, in the middle of the wilderness, they're having a talk about how to keep your books dry while taking a bath. I mean, it's the guy who writes the S. Craig Zoller. He has very like macho dialogue, but a lot of it's pretty lyrical. I feel like in Brawl in Cell Block 99, there's some really good lines where Vince Vaughn comes home and his wife is preparing food, and he's like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "The part that comes between buying and eating." Like, that's a good line. Like, he has good dialogue, and it's a weird movie where and very good actors too. I mean, the acting in this film is exemplary. So, yeah, you know, let's just talk about it. Let's skip Deadpool 2. No, I'm joking.
Just get back into Bone Tomahawk again.
Yeah, so my whole point, though, was to thanks, Johnny Num. I love that movie, dude. The whole point, just go to Movies, Films, and Flicks on Facebook and let us know what you want us to talk about on our 150th episode. We have 20 episodes left, so that's still, you know, not half a year, but almost half a year. But yeah, let us know. Leave some comments, vote. If you see a movie you like, just like that comment, and you'll be good to go. So, John, you know what it's time for?
It's probably about that time that we go on to a whole lot of zany tangents.
That's right. So, listener questions. So, for the first listener questions from Eric, and he said, in Home Alone 2, Buzz called Kevin a trout sniffer, which is still funny today. What are the funniest name-calling moments in movie history? And John, if a henchman sniffed a trout in front of you, would you still dropkick him?
If he was holding an axe.
No, but like, what if he was a henchman and he just happened to have a fish?
Like he's smelling it to see if it's like still good because it was in a Tupperware?
Yeah.
Because
you wouldn't need that drastic of a kick, right? You could probably just punch the fish into his face.
I mean, I don't know if he's hiding an axe that he's later intending to dip into that fish.
But where's the axe?
I don't know. That's just it. I don't know. I'm just playing it safe, so I'm going to drop kick him.
What do they call that? What did they call it in this movie? Your prison wallet? Is the axe in his prison wallet, like in Deadpool 2?
That's right. Just like keeping a hollowed out dangerous pen.
All right.
Somehow pick the most dangerous thing ever.
All right. So I have a couple. Gangs of New York, Buffalo Bills. Like, I don't give a PG. This is our R rating. R-rated episode, and it's a spoiler episode for Deadpool 2, so just so you know now. But in Gangs of New York, he says, I don't give a tuppeny fuck about your moral conundrum, you meat-headed shit sack. And then in what I love in Bad Santa, he's like, you're an emotional fucking cripple. Your soul is dog shit. Every single fucking thing you do is ugly. But my favorite insult of all time is an Ernest Scared Stupid. When Ernest is about to run over a troll, and he goes, how about a bumper sandwich? Booger lips.
Booger lips.
He calls them booger lips. And were you going to say Blade Trinity, John? Were you going to talk about
and that, what's funny is that popped in my head right when I read the question.
Okay, so I won't bring that up. So I'll let you jump over there. But there's been some great insults, but I'm going Ernest Scared Stupid.
Well, and so Ryan Reynolds across his filmography is really loaded with them. And anyone who's seen, I think it's 2004 or so, or 2002's Buying the Cow, he is loaded. I mean, there must be 20 wonderful, horrible R-rated name calling in that. But yeah, in Blade Trinity, as you thought of, when he sees Parker Posey, who was Hannibal King's ex-girlfriend vampire, because he's an ex-vampire. He calls her a cock-juggling thunder cunt. and when I first heard that, I feel like I couldn't even pay attention to the next 15 minutes of the movie because I kept running that through my head and giggling to myself. It's such a heinous thing to say.
You know what's crazy is I think Parker Posey's great, and she acted the heck out of Blade Trinity. So she was like a great actress, and just to have Ryan Reynolds call her that, when they unleashed that in the theaters, I had pretty much, I was 22, I had used every swear word known to man. But when I heard that, I went, that's new.
Yep.
That's
bro
new.
Nod.
Yeah.
Bro nod.
No, I feel like anybody watching that movie would be like, even someone who gets offended easy would be like, not bad. That's a hard R swear word.
Well, it's so wonderful how it does justice to the moment we meet Parker Posey in Blade Trinity, and she's walking in what I'll call 0.75x speed in her high heels down some hallway, and she has this vampire sneer that just it gives resting bitch face a new meaning. She really owned that role and really staged it for Reynolds to later have that line and have it hit so perfectly.
There's a scene where she's sitting on a table and she just kicks her assistant in the face. It's the most random thing I've ever seen in my life. And I had watched Parker Posey and Dazed and Confused. A lot of movies where I'd never expected her to kick somebody in the face, and it just made me really happy.
And also, doesn't she later kick Ryan Reynolds in the balls while he's being interrogated? And he's like, of course, he's saying nothing but snide things, knowing what's coming.
Like, she knows what he's all about. Like, she's like, oh, yeah, this guy, I've dealt with him before. So, I don't know, yeah. So I think my favorite insult of all time is booger lips. And then you're going with Blade Trinity?
Yeah, I'm not going to repeat that too many times because we're going to get flagged on iTunes.
Yeah. Is that possible?
I don't know, but I mean, if a mother ends up hearing us and hears us blowing that around too much, we might get like warnings. Like, I don't know if there's some explicit button that we hit.
I will, good news is I said it was an R-rated episode right before this, so we should be okay.
That's right. If you're listening now and you were mildly offended, R-rated episode.
I gotta tell you something, John. Between Deadpool 2 and writing that sweary article for Rotten Tomatoes, I've been around a lot of swear words, but I did find something interesting out earlier.
What was that?
Okay, so if you call somebody, all right, think about this. If you say the word shit stick, right?
Uh-huh.
But then you say the word poop stick. Like, poop stick sounds grosser.
I think, yeah.
So by not swearing, you're almost more gross.
If I called you a feces stick.
Yeah, that's nasty.
It's disgusting. So, we made it 100% biological. It is no longer a figure of speech.
Yeah, you have a visual in your head. Ew, like a shit sandwich. Like, we're in a real shit sandwich situation. If you said we're in a feces sandwich.
Don't be such a penis head.
Yeah, exactly. So by not swearing,
don't be a dumb buttocks.
We gotta calm down, man. This is gonna be like Jacksonville 2003. All right, cool. So the next question's from Sean. Woo. Yeah, remember that? The next question's from Sean, and he asks, which actor truly owns a Marvel character? You know, there's Downey, Stark, Evans, Cap, Reynolds, DP. So what actor do you think really owns a Marvel character?
Well, you know, I really just was reacting to those three choices because those are three great choices. Because, like, for me, Robert Downey Jr. just is Iron Man, is so much him rather than just someone's writing that, like, I can't even imagine someone else later filling those shoes. Whereas, like, Chris Evans is an awesome Captain America, but I can picture someone else in 10 years playing Captain America and me not being upset. I'll just be like, maybe he's not as good as Evans was. You know? Yeah. And Ryan Reynolds, I find with Deadpool, is somewhere in the middle ground because he basically, we also know just as a fact, he isn't just the actor. He's writing behind it. He's producing it. He spent a decade getting that movie made, the first Deadpool, that kind of puts him in this kind of middle ground between the two. Of them. But I found myself responding mostly to them because Iron Man is the first thing that would naturally come to mind for me as like the actor who just owns the character.
I guess I started thinking about Wesley Snipes' Blade in the first two Blade movies. I thought he really, because I just had to watch that again, and I thought he did a really great job as Blade. He kind of hit the style. You know, it's not like he doesn't swear that much. When he does, he just sounds awesome. He's just kind of like a badass martial artist, and he really owned that Blade character.
Yeah.
I thought he did a good job with that. And as much as people complain, I still think Tobey Maguire was a good Spider-Man.
So I'm going to agree with you. I didn't necessarily love him in the movies in general, but he, as Spider-Man, was very good. He was very, very good.
I mean, he got cast. You know, I guess it's really not his fault he got cast, but his kind of brand of Spider-Man I liked, and I think it's kind of weird how, like, Wesley Snipes and Tobey Maguire kind of lost themselves in the third film. I find that to be pretty interesting. But I think, for me, also, I like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Just the evolution of the character as far as Logan. But if you got to do anything, it's got to be Downey Stark. Because I like Chris Evans, but after, you know, Captain America's Winter Soldier, he was basically with... He was with Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow, the whole film.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool, or you look at Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man, they're supporting characters, but the movies are basically them. So as far as like carrying movies on their shoulders, I think they're the gold standard of it.
Yeah, and you mentioned Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, but the thing is, like, he does an amazing brand of Wolverine. But whenever someone says, "Oh, can you picture anyone else?" I'm like, "Well, off the top of my head, yeah, I absolutely can." Like,
Yeah.
I can picture Tom Hardy as a good Wolverine. I think I even got that idea from a website. I don't remember, but like, I can picture other people as great Wolverines. They would just have to have a different approach to the personality of Wolverine. But as it turns out, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine does not strike me as being very similar to the comic book Wolverine, whereas Ryan Reynolds is a very honorable depiction. I don't mean honorable versus dishonorable, a very accurate depiction of Deadpool from the comic books.
Got it. And then what about any, like, I can't think of many. I think Jean Grey did a good job in the first two, Famke Johnson did a good job in the first two X-Men, but then she got lost in the third one.
Yeah.
I know it's not Marvel, but I think Michelle Pfeiffer did a great job as Catwoman in Batman Returns.
Yes.
I think
Yeah,
she really owned that.
That's one of those tricky things where I think that she was great playing the character, but she wasn't suited to show that it was Michelle Pfeiffer on screen during any action sequences. That was a weird balance for me. But that movie wasn't, super martial artsy anyway. Yeah. So that was okay.
And she was just learning too. But like, just like her movements and the way she talked, like, I think she could have really grown into that role.
And she had a good look for it too.
Yeah. Oh, and this is going to sound insane, but Colin Farrell as Bullseye in Daredevil.
I could see a lot of other people in that
role. But he owned that role.
Oh, yeah, he did a great job with it.
Like, listen, how many Ford F-150s are there in this world? Like, how many 2017 F-150 Lariats are there? There's got to be thousands, and people own those. So, like, there's many people can own the role, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not saying, like, the definitive. Like, I'm thinking people can own it. Like, in my head, I'm not thinking who owns it for eternity, but who owns it when they play it. And I guess I just thought Colin Farrell had so much fun with that role. Like, it was
he definitely did.
Bonkers. And like, when they say own it, like, you just own it. Like, you just walk out of your, I don't know, it's like you just have that aura about you. And I thought he nailed that pretty well too.
And just direction wise too, when they first introduce him and they're playing House of Pain, Top of the Morning to You, which is my favorite. Screw Jump Around. That's actually my favorite House of Pain song, and was since I was in middle school. So I loved that I finally got to hear that in a movie. And it's while he's drinking a beer while throwing sideways darts, getting bullseye after of course. Yeah. That was a great comic book moment that worked well on screen.
Yeah, he just didn't care, and I loved it. I thought Zendaya did a good job as in Spider-Man: Homecoming as the new Mary Jane. I thought it was a different take. And she seemed really comfortable in that role. And Tom Holland was really good as Spider-Man.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah. All right, so let's do one more question here. No, you know what? Let's get into the movie a little bit, and then we will ask this question. That was kind of a clumsy break, but we'll make it work from here on out. So the movie that we're talking about, well, because I was going to ask this third question, but I think it'll really help us later on when we get into the film. So sure. The movie we're talking about today, total spoilers, is Deadpool 2, directed by David Leitch, who did John Wick, or he's one of the guys who killed the dog in John Wick. He also directed Atomic Blonde, written by Rhett Reese, Paul Wernick, and Ryan Reynolds this time. He got a writing credit, and acted in, produced, written. He did all the marketing. Ryan Reynolds. So this is... It's $300 million worldwide right now. Made $125 million domestic this weekend. It only cost $110 million, and you're gonna think that's crazy that I say only cost $110 million. But when you look at the Avengers, it's probably $500 million. So for a big blockbuster, it's pretty cheap.
And the first Deadpool was only 40 or 50 million, right? Budget-wise.
Yeah, super. Yeah. They kept cutting it back and back and back. So I mean, this movie, let's say it makes another $100 million. It's probably already recouped its costs for marketing and filming. So, I mean, this is a very profitable film. 85% on Rotten Tomatoes, and then, 83%, and then audiences gave it 85%. So that happens that's pretty rare when they're that high together. So people are really responding well to it. And I guess before we could get into it, John, do you want me to ask you about your thoughts? You just want to jump into the movie?
I'll just give one big sweeping thought, and that's that I have two different statements that will make you think that I love and hate this movie. But this was a really, 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 really entertaining movie. But compared to the first Deadpool, I was really, really, really disappointed.
What did you love about the first Deadpool movie so much?
Every single moment of that movie, I am smiling. I can't express it better than that. There is not a slow moment of that movie that doesn't at least have me still smiling from whatever just happened earlier or thinking about what's going to happen next. And in Deadpool 2, and I saw a double feature when I saw these, so I saw them right back to back. In Deadpool 2, I found slow parts. I found myself waiting. I found moments that didn't feel spot on. There were some moments that felt not forced in general, just forced compared to the total natural ease of the first Deadpool. So all these statements I'm making are just compared to Deadpool, not as a film in general. Like this movie didn't have slow parts. Just felt slow compared to the first Deadpool. But it was a wonderful movie experience. I had a great time with it. I'm going to buy it right away. I'm probably going to spend $25 on the 4K as soon as it comes out, just so I can watch it again real soon. So I really loved it. It really disappointed me compared to the first one.
Gotcha. And after watching Deadpool last week, I guess I really appreciate the one thing that turned me off about most about Deadpool is. So on our website or on Facebook,
the new one or the old one?
The old one, and it's nothing to do with the movie.
Okay.
It's just like on MFF, I'd be like, hey, here's the top 10 Daniel Day-Lewis movies, and someone would be like, why is Deadpool not on there? Like it's like Deadpool fans are, and we were at Comic-Cons for years too. So I think just the fandom of Deadpool, like really soured me on Deadpool, which isn't fair towards the movie. But just kind of being around, like, I'd be like, hey, here's the top 10 Blake Lively movies. We're like, well, Deadpool should be there because she's married to Ryan Reynolds. And, like, just real, like, super grading Deadpool fans. It was pretty interesting. But after watching Deadpool again last week, I think it's a very smooth film. It flows. It's not bumpy. It has a very good, like, plot that's just ABC, simple story. This one doesn't flow as well. But I had more fun with it. I think it's more clunky, Deadpool 2, but I just love the bits. I laughed a lot harder than I did the first time around for Deadpool, but I still like them both a lot. But it's kind of like a weird thing where I think the story's better in the first one, but then I still had a better time watching the second one. Because I think in a lot of ways Deadpool 2 is sort of critic-proof because it breaks the fourth wall, it talks about a lot of different things, it's very snarky, it knows what it is. So I think you could nitpick a lot about it. But it's an interesting movie to review because it's just so meta.
I wouldn't want to write about it. I'm down to talk about it all day, but I wouldn't want to write about it.
Yeah, it's just weird, right? It's like it's not critic proof, but
so this is kind of an interesting thing that I noticed is that I saw one before because it advertised absolutely no spoiler review, and then I saw a couple reviews after seeing Deadpool 2. And all the reviews that I happened to see all fell on the same ground, except they felt very negative. But again, they were, in hindsight, they were negative because they were comparing it to Deadpool 1. And it maybe wasn't fair to just judge the film in front of them. It didn't seem like people enjoyed it when I was reading these reviews. And then later I realized they're just saying, well, I thought this worked better in part 1 or whatever, things like that, or the clunkiness or whateverness. But I can't sit back having now seen it and think that these people didn't like it.
Yeah.
Even though it felt that way in the reviews that I read.
And Deadpool 2 for me is more about, does it deliver good fun dialogue? Does it deliver meta jokes? Does it deliver in jokes? Does it have surprises? Are there lines that like shock me? And so on that merit, that's kind of when I went in watching this one and I really enjoyed it. Like I mean, there's some moments in here with the X-Force getting together. God. I mean, and then Domino, dude. Domino just made me like her character. There's a big scene she has. Like she probably gets one of the biggest set pieces in the movie. It just made me so happy. I don't think there was he doesn't say any fun lines. Like he doesn't call anybody shit swizzlers or Muppet. Wait, was he t-spackled-muppet-farts? But I don't know. I still, man, this movie, and I want another one. I can't wait for another one. And
yeah, so I was wondering, based on reviews and how much it made, because if you look on IMDb, well, by the time this pod comes out, several days ago, but I was looking on IMDb today, it still has X-Force and Deadpool 3 announced. I think they've both been announced for a while on IMDb. Do you know how official that is or isn't, Mark?
Yeah, no, Drew Goddard, the guy who directed Cabin in the Woods, he's writing and directing X-Force, so it's happening.
Okay, and that's happening before Deadpool 3?
Yes.
Okay.
Because, I think Ryan Reynolds almost a bit relieved because he just doesn't sleep when he makes these movies. So now he has Drew Goddard in there and Goddard in there. He wrote Cabin in the Woods, so he gets meta. He gets that world. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. And I don't know, I guess, do you want to break down the plot of this movie, or do you want me to break it down before we get into it?
I'll go right ahead, Mark.
All right, so Deadpool 2 starts off, he's a great assassin, he's going around the world killing people. However, it catches up to him, and something I'm not really a fan of, the love of his life, Vanessa, gets killed, of course. Then he just wants to die. He becomes suicidal. He tries to join the X-Men to save this fire kid. Goes wrong. He goes to the prison with this Ricky Baker from Hunt for the Wilder People. I know the kid has a name in this, but I'm just going to call him Ricky Baker. And it's Julian Dennison. But he goes to a prison. Cable shows up, tries to kill the kid. And then basically it's just Deadpool finding an X-Force team to take out Cable to save a kid. But then the kid turns bad. And then they have to stop a kid from killing a horrible head of a school. And, a lot of bits.
So,
I don't know if I explained it too well, but the plot in this movie I could care less about. I was going, what is going on? But I don't know. It still has probably one of my top 5 moments of the year so far with X-Force. What'd you think about Vanessa just being killed right off the bat?
So I didn't like that. I didn't like that because I love that character, and I almost found myself thinking, if you were going to kill her, why didn't you just say it? I don't know. It's it felt. And I understand why, Ryan Reynolds explained why in that Empire spoiler Deadpool 2 podcast, that, Deadpool needs to have nothing. He needs to be desperate, maybe for this to work. That seemed to be the fast and loose interpretation of it. And I didn't disagree. It's just that watching it on film, I wasn't feeling that. I just felt why am I seeing all these scenes of a great character who was taken away from me?
It just, I totally get what Ryan Reynolds was saying. Deadpool can't be in a good place for a Deadpool movie, but just to kill off somebody that you base the entire first movie around, and they do that a lot. Movies have done it a lot, but it's like a trope that, I didn't write this movie. I don't, whatever. It just felt cheap to me. And I get it, and I would still give this movie a positive review, but I wasn't really a fan of it.
There are ways to remove a character from a plot and to add that character as a stake for our protagonist. Maybe somewhere along the line, someone who wanted to punish Deadpool and put him in that in that mutant prison. Maybe they also, I'm just telling something stupid, set her up as a tax fraud person and sent her to jail. And so now she's in jail, and they sent her to some horrible jail. And he also has this other thing to deal with. And it's one scene. And they gave us all these scenes about him dreaming about her anyway. So it's not like it complicates the movie a lot. Just there are ways. I gave a stupid reason, but there are ways to write around this without taking her away. And then the thing is that while it was cool, the scenes of Ryan Reynolds, of Wade, being emotional and having these dream sequences of kind of the afterlife and trying to rejoin her and all that stuff's fine and all, but we kept hopscotching the whole tone of the movie because this happens a whole bunch of times. And we go from this raucous, fun, raunchy actionness to these somber, interludes. It was strange for the pacing too. not bad, but just a bit odd.
Yeah, they wanted to have
clunky, to use your word, clunky.
They just wanted to have their cake and eat it too. They wanted to get dramatic, but then they wanted to have the fun. I mean, I don't know, maybe because of all that testing, Deadpool couldn't have kids, and then he goes on this mission and he finds a kid, and he's like, oh wow, I could be a father to this kid, and then you don't even have to get rid of that character. So he just wants to protect the kid. And
then he can rescue her from prison in my stupid tax evasion plot, and then they can have a kid. And name him Russell Persnickety Bits. I don't know.
or oh man, what was the guy? They said
Francis.
They said the actor who played Francis, the actor who played Dickie Dickie Greenleaf. Yeah, Dickie Greenleaf. And so Dickie Greenleaf. But I mean, she doesn't even need to go to jail right? Like she could just. She's a great character, but she's like, I'm not going on a mission with you.
I mean, whatever, something. Give me a mutant bad guy who works for the prison that literally sends her to a Superman 2 prison dimension. Something stupid. And then later he finds that bad guy and so whatever. There are 89,000 ways they could have done this differently.
You really get intricate with this. We went from a little prison from tax evasion to a space prison.
But like, someone just touches you and like teleports you to another dimension.
Ooh, there's jumpers?
They Ant-Man you. When Wasp Woman was lost in the end of Ant-Man, or I guess in the beginning of Ant-Man, because in that super microcosmic whatever quantum something physical, but it's like give me any other reason.
How awesome would it be if for once the woman wasn't kidnapped, right? And then she's just sort of hanging out while he saves a kid.
And she was involved in getting him out of the prison.
Wait, he was involved to getting you out of... Wait. Oh, she was involved. Yeah, exactly.
No, or maybe maybe she could have like a small part in getting him out of prison, or a small part in helping him learn something about cable, or a small part in, just like she can play roles. She's not a superhero, but she could still be significant in fun ways.
Yeah, exactly. Like use her abilities to do that. I mean, she knows probably where all his cocaine and guns are hid, and the cure for blindness. So I mean, have that. But I mean, whatever. I mean, we're definitely nitpicking, and it still didn't wreck my enjoyment of this movie. I just didn't think that was what needed to be happen. But I also didn't make $300 million in an opening weekend, so I can't really talk that much. No, let's see. What else do I have here on my notes? So, what did you think? So he blows himself up. Did you like So he basically explodes himself. He probably could have killed a lot of people while he did that. But he gets brought to the X-Men mansion where Colossus has him in a duffel bag.
Right.
They put them back together, and then they have a really fun cameo of all the current X-Men, which sort of messes with the timeline because it's the younger X-Men, not the older X-Men.
Well, right, the Nicholas Hoult, James McAvoy X-Men.
It's not the Kelsey Grammer, but who cares? I was like, oh my gosh! I didn't even know that until someone brought that up. And so then he's depressed, he's whining, he's wearing flippers instead of Crocs. Then he gets a call to go with Colossus and Negasonic Warhead, teenage Negasonic Warhead, to go to this school where this kid Russell, or Ricky Baker, played by Julian Dennison, is blowing stuff up because he can like light fire. He's like Drew Barrymore from well, no, maybe he's not. He's like the Human Torch, but he's not a torch. And things go terribly awry, and the two of them end up in a prison where they have things around their necks which take away their superpowers, which means Deadpool's cancer's coming back, and then he just wants to die.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that prison.
Yeah, it's like I was expecting to see Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sly Stallone in the background.
It was such an escape plan meets Wedlock. If you remember that Rutger Hauer movie from like I think the 80s where they have those collars that'll explode if you tamper with them. And meanwhile, this kid, they're like, oh, no one's ever getting out of this. And the kid gets it off with a pen.
Yeah, the kid. Oh, remember with Domino though? She's like, what's the code? She's like, I don't know, 7.
Why is there even a number code?
Yeah.
Why doesn't it like why even a fingerprint? Why don't you touch it and it somehow like reads the DNA of the person touching it? Like, why is it a number code? But that was funny though. Yeah, like I'm not trying to be a negative critic. That was funny that it was like that.
And I love that Domino just went 7.
And it was one number.
So cool. And then you get some very funny bits in the prison though when Russell, Ricky Baker, tries to fight. He's like, find the biggest guy in prison.
Give me a bitch.
Yeah. Then he just gets his butt kicked, and so
this kid, and I'm not just saying this because he's a heavy actor. He reminds me of Rebel Wilson. The attitude that Rebel Wilson has in Pitch Perfect. I feel like this kid is owning that attitude, like that overstated, overconfident even for his abilities.
That's pretty interesting because she's from Tasmania, correct? Isn't she from around that area? He's a New Zealand native. I mean, I know they're not the same anywhere near, but
and of course they sound similar too because the accents are similar. But just the attitude, that attitude, like, because he's just he's a 13, a 14, a 15-year-old kid. And he's like, we got to find the toughest guy here and make him our bitch. It's like, you're two non-superheroes now in a prison. You're a dude dying of cancer and a kid. And you're like, there are these big, tough dudes. And he's just saying, it's like, oh yeah, it's going to be great. We're going to be running this place. And I'm just like, that is such a Rebel Wilson thing to say to Anna Kendrick, though.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I didn't even think about that. And that made the kid endearing. There's a scene later on in the movie where Deadpool's injured, and I keep wanting to say Ricky Baker, but it's Russell. Russell, he does the fake rope and he pulls himself away.
But what was it again? That is such a Rebel Wilson thing to do.
And so I love that little moment with him. Eventually, Cable comes in. Deadpool says some really mean things to Ricky Baker. He's like, oh yeah, we're not friends. Something happens. Deadpool and Cable fight their way out of there. Then the people in the prison are like, listen, we got to get all these people out of here, so they arrange a transport. And then Deadpool's like, well, I lost Vanessa, so I have to save this kid. So Deadpool and Weasel decide to put together X-Force, which leads us to our next question from Sean. Did Wade and Weasel find X-Force applicants Rampage, Domino, Peter on LinkedIn? If not, how did they get the word out? They seem to get a good application pool. Because if you think about it, right, they had Bedlam, Terry Crews, he can mess with people's minds. They had Shatterstar, a dude from another planet. They had Zeitgeist, who could spit acid. Vanisher, who was amazing. Domino, who's just the best. And then they got Peter. So, I mean, LinkedIn, are there superheroes on LinkedIn?
I mean, or assassins or something. But that was even a joke, wasn't it? Didn't Weevil even say time to get back on LinkedIn? But it's like, I don't know. How do you do that? Of course, that was just kind of the zany Deadpooliness of it all. So that doesn't need to be explained to me, but I'm curious.
So if they just did a Craigslist ad, they might have gotten the mystery men type people like the Waffler. But since they went on LinkedIn, maybe they had more, they saw their degrees, they saw their skills. It's more of a nice, you can apply for jobs on LinkedIn. So
they had to at least be a second degree connection. Right? Because it couldn't be some total stranger who doesn't know anyone that you know.
Yeah, you're right.
So if you're on LinkedIn and you are a hero or supervillain and you decide to only be friends with other superheroes or supervillains, then you can only get other superheroes or supervillains, their friends or their family apply.
Yeah, so then they got a good talent pool. This squad they had was legit.
I mean, Peter, loaded with heart.
Sugar Bear. And so
I wish they got. He struck me as a physically smaller Patrick Warburton who is not as cynical.
And he's like, I want you out of here, Peter. He's like, well, I guess it was pretty scary. But you got to give it to Peter. I mean, he skydived out of a plane to run a mission. The dude had some guts. So what I love is Terry Crews from, Brooklyn Nine-Nine is in this. Then you had, Louis Tan, then Bill Skarsgård, who is the Pennywise from It. Vanisher is Brad Pitt. And then you had other cameos. You had Matt Damon and Alan Tudyk as two rednecks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this movie's loaded with these cameos. But this X-Force thing, did you know that they shot extra scenes for the trailers to fake people out about how much the X-Force were used?
No. Yeah, I wonder if I even saw them.
Yeah, I read an interview with Terry Crews where in the trailers they showed him punching somebody. And they shot...
Oh, to make it seem like they were involved. I got you, yeah.
And so they faked out everyone. I think my favorite scene, one of my top 5 scenes of this year so far, is watching one of the parachuters flipping around and around and around. And then Domino, she just finds this truck perfectly, tons of property damage, drives through a building. She gets lucky beyond all belief, and the whole time Deadpool's like, your power isn't great. And she's like, no, it's pretty good. And then she's like, come on, Lady Luck, and the truck drives itself while she's fighting Cable. in a massive fight. Like I thought that
and she leaves the truck while it's doing a hard turn, and then it straightens out after the hard turn.
What I loved about her character was that scene. Like they kind of explained it a bit, where he's like, "No, it's not." She's like, "It is." No, she's like, "It is." Like your power is a power. And she said it was a power. He said it wasn't. But this entire scene establishes the luck aspect of her character through actions, and that.
And when she confidently just runs through a busy intersection too, and then the car is like gets bombed and is flipping over her, and
it was awesome. And then she had so much fun with it. Like she's like sitting around with all these guys, and she's like, I should have Ubered. I just love that bit. But just her.
Man, I really should have finished college.
But just fighting Cable, and I liked where Cable's like, I like you. Like, what's your name? Or like he said, like, if I have more time, I'd like to know your name or something like that. I think Cable, she won him over for sure. And I thought that was a really, much like Black Panther and Spider-Man and Captain America Civil War, I thought this was a very smart way to introduce her character into the world. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, I thought she fit really well. I like the aspect of luck. I like that she saved the orphans from a very lucky bus. And I don't know. I like that whole scene. I like that all of X-Force just died by wood chippers, electrocution.
Oh God, that was wonderful. Good Lord.
Helicopter blades.
But even with the wood chipper, and then Bill Skarsgård does this like death throw projectile vomit. And it takes off the dude's arm while he's trying to save him because it melts his arm because he has acid vomit. Like, what is this?
And everyone looks so happy. Everyone that was part of you can tell everybody on X-Force. And one of the biggest laughs for me, top 3 laughs of this movie, is watching the Vanisher jump out of the airplane, but it's just the parachute.
Right.
Just jumping out. Like I laughed too hard
until it hits the power lines.
Yeah. and then the one guy actually is from another planet, the Mojoverse, and he hits the helicopter and green blood explodes everywhere.
Oh, I was glad too, because I didn't like the Shatterstar that they put on film for us. It makes me very happy that he died in the way that he died.
Yeah, and like I don't know, I just thought it was just so funny. And then you have this big chase with Deadpool on a moped, and then he gets into a car, but he has to like do it upside down and drive, and then it leads to the Juggernaut, who just walks up to Deadpool and goes, "I'm gonna rip you in half now,"
and does.
Yeah, just rips him in half.
Brutally rips him in half.
So then we have Russell and Juggernaut escape. Russell's gonna go off and kill this headmaster. Deadpool has to go he has to go recover. And it actually kind of like he and Cable kind of became cool then. But then it leads with a scene where Domino's carrying Deadpool like a backpack because Deadpool's been ripped in half.
And that was like a Luke with C-3PO, or I'm sorry, Chewbacca with C-3PO.
Yeah, that was awesome. And then you go back to the apartment where Deadpool starts growing the tiniest legs, and you have a basic instinct ripoff.
With Al.
Yeah, with
his
Al.
roommate.
And then everyone teams up. And oh no, you know what? I did miss a scene where he goes to Al's apartment and he puts a bag of cocaine in his mouth and hits it.
Yeah, he puts the mask over it first. Yeah, he pops the thing.
So then now we got X-Force, dude. We got Weasel's he's not coming back, TJ Miller, for the next movies because of all his behind the scenes problems. But I like that we have Domino, Cable, and Deadpool. And the cab driver. What's the cab driver's name? Dopinder.
You're right.
And he is just talking about murdering people and bathing in blood.
He's trying so hard, and they have him bar backing.
Yeah, you got to learn how to clean bottles before you can kill people. But I just like that. I just like that he's like, I will murder. When I murdered my cousin, or that guy who took my love, he's like, that felt good. And he's like, I want to do it again. And then the whole movie he's just talking about killing people. I like
he
that
speaks
character.
with a quiet passion for it.
Yeah. I don't know how they've been able to find such likable people, but everybody that they brought in, I just like. It's a really great dynamic done by the director and Ryan Reynolds and all them, because I just was like sold on kind of everybody. Yeah, so they kind of team up, right? What do you think about the baby legs of Deadpool?
So it was really, really funny, but I didn't like it. It was really funny. I didn't like it, though. I just felt like they were forcing something that worked in part one.
Yeah, it was definitely a rehash. But
and it got a lot of screen time.
I think what I liked better were the reactions of all the actors. Like, it was less about the grossness and just the people, acting with it.
Yeah, but then, like him, yeah, he does his like Basic Instinct moment. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I didn't like it. I don't like that they put that in the movie, but it was hilarious. Like, I was laughing loud and a lot during this scene. It
was a reheated chimichanga.
Right, it was a reheated chimichanga. It's
all right. So let's go eat some chimichangas. Let's go reheat them. Let's go watch this Basic Instinct scene again. Let's go talk. Let's figure out more about Black Tom Cassidy, and then we'll be back in a little bit. Welcome back to Movies, Films, and Flicks. So, John, I know we had to talk about this, but, Black Tom Cassidy, man, you got to show more restraint. I hope that you start judging people by, not by their color and just by their, personalities and their hearts and themselves.
So for all of my, very minor gripes when comparing Deadpool 2 to Deadpool 1, when Deadpool 2 manages to quote Martin Luther King Jr., it's like, you have a good day.
And I love Cable just listening to this idiot.
As he's dying. So he's being respectful and quiet because he's dying willfully while he's being called a racist wrongfully.
And I like that scene with Domino. She's like, I'm going to agree with the old white dude.
I can't even remember his name. I just remember he was African American. Black Tom or Dennis or Ralph. I can't remember.
And he never got Peter's name right, too.
Oh, my God. It was so funny.
Yeah, that was a good bit. That was a bit that works for me. So
oh yeah, it was wonderful. And they carried it throughout a lot of the film, and it never felt like they were beating a dead horse. It always was wonderful.
Yeah, I dug that. Hey, you want to finish up some listener questions here?
Let's get into it. Who we got?
All right, we got Sean, and he asks, where does Deadpool stand amongst comic book sequels? So for me, to be specific, I didn't add the third movie in like a trilogy. I just had this as the direct sequel to a predecessor. So Iron Man 2, X-Men X2. So I don't think it's not above Dark Knight. It's not above Winter Soldier, Spider-Man 2, Superman 2, X2, Hellboy 2, but I still loved it. But I wouldn't put it in my top 5 of direct sequels.
I'd have to think about that. Yeah, I had a lot of difficulty with this. 'Cause it's like I said before, like, to me, it pales to Deadpool 1, but the fact that it pales to Deadpool 1 doesn't mean that it wasn't still something that I wonderfully enjoyed and like celebrated. And it was totally different from part 1, which is also, makes it harder for me to really gauge, I mean, it was very enjoyable.
I feel
it definitely, but you know what it absolutely was not for me was an X2, because for me, X2 was way better than X-Men.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? I was going to bring this up. So you have movies like the first X-Men, the first Spider-Man, even, Captain America, the first Captain America was an 80. Batman Begins was good, but it wasn't a classic. Fantastic Four. Then you had X-Men Origins Wolverine, Hellboy. So Thor. There's a lot of movies where improvement could have really happened with these movies. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. They're good, but there was room for improvement. But then you have Deadpool, which I think nailed it, and people loved it so much. I mean, the audience rating's 91 on Rotten Tomatoes, and since I deal with so much Rotten Tomatoes data, I never see 90s approval ratings.
Yeah,
they're very rare. So I'm not going to say Deadpool started off perfectly, but it didn't start off as like a 70. It wasn't like X-Men Origins, then the Wolverine, then Logan. That just kept getting better and better. It wasn't like Spider-Man to Spider-Man 2 or X-Men to X2. But it also, Deadpool 2 wasn't Thor, then Thor the Dark World, or Iron Man, and then Iron Man 2, or
which were big drops, yeah.
Or Man of Steel, then Batman vs. Superman, or Avengers, and then Age of Ultron, or Kick-Ass, then Kick-Ass 2, or Kingsman, then Kingsman 2. So it walked a really weird line of, and it's one of the as I'm looking at these, there's very few sequels that get like higher scores than their first one, and this one didn't do it, but they're about on the level right now as far as ratings as critics and audiences. So I think it's one of the few sequels that I know the plot was clunkier, but it was still a lot of fun. Like the quality of it wasn't diminished. There was just there were some things that were different about it. So if I had to put it in order of comic book sequels, I think I would put it right in the middle. If I had a list, I would put it, if there's only been 10 sequels, I would put it at 5 or 6, or like, I couldn't put it at 1 through 4.
So you're not ranking the sequels against each other. You're ranking the sequel's ability to compare to its original.
Yeah, but if
right?
I just had to, that, and then if I had to rank sequels, I wouldn't put it in my top 5.
Right. Would I put that in my top 5 sequel? It would be close.
Like, it couldn't beat X2 for me. It couldn't beat Superman 2, Spider-Man 2. I think Dark Knight. I'm not really in the Days of Future Past. I would put it. I like Hellboy 2, but I'm not in love with it.
I love Hellboy 2.
I think Batman Returns is one of my favorite sequels. I love Blade 2. So right now, I know that X2, Superman 2, Spider-Man 2, Dark Knight would be before it. So if it got that 5th spot, it would have to fight with like Batman Returns or Blade 2. So I don't know where it wouldn't be in my top 5. But I mean, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter with this movie. I mean, Deadpool 2. I would put Deadpool 2. Yeah, I guess neither. I'm not like in love with these movies. I love them, but I'm not in love with them. But I guess I'm really talking around this. But where does it stand? I think it's one of the rare. I think it matches its equal, even though it's clunkier. And I think that's kind of rare in the comic book world. And there's not a big drop-off in quality, but there wasn't a big improvement either. But it was hard to improve on Deadpool.
Yeah, and I'll say that maybe a part of, not all of, but a part of the clunkiness is that this is what I'll call the curse of the second Pirates of the Caribbean movie, is that it seems that its greatest purpose is to set up the third movie. And or upcoming movies, if you will. So it's like, we're introducing Cable, so we have to get into that. We're introducing X-Force, so we have the other characters, so we have to get into that. And on top of that, we're introducing 2 separate antagonists. The basically child-abusing religious zealot who runs the mutant school, the naughty mutant school, and Juggernaut. So we were being introduced to 4 different new dimensions of character trajectories. Whereas in the first movie, we were just basically learning about Deadpool, and he had an antagonist. So they're setting up a lot, and I think that makes it, I think it makes it easier if someone wants to pick at it. Because we're setting up a lot of stuff that I'm excited to see. So it needs to be set up. But at the same time, this movie needs to have an antagonist, and that antagonist can't purely be Cable, right? He's just an antagonist for a tiny portion of it. So it's like there's a lot going on in this movie. There are so many things going on in this movie.
I guess that's why I love, if you look at X2, right? Stryker jumps in as a villain and you add Mystique. But you already have established Magneto. Or Lady Deathstrike and Stryker are kind of the main antagonists, but you still have Magneto running around, so they didn't really add too much to X-Men.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. They added a lot of characters, but it didn't take a lot, and it all worked. And it wasn't as complicated, again, because the guy running the school in Deadpool 2, that was a lot that had to be explained. It wasn't just, here's another mutant that we're going to recruit for the X-Men.
Yeah, that was weird. And all right, so going back to my favorite comic book sequel of all time, Spider-Man 2, I love that because you establish the relationship with Peter Parker and Doc Ock. Then you show Doc Ock having a thing go horribly wrong where he gets infused with these arms. And then for the rest of the movie, you have some stuff with Franco, but the main antagonist is one person in Spider-Man 2. And he pushed he pushed Peter Parker to his limits because Peter Parker knew him and liked him. And I think they just really scaled it back. And I think that's why I love it so much. It's like the rare sequel that only brings in one villain. So yeah, I guess I don't know, long way around. I would put this somewhere in the middle. Deadpool 2. I mean, it's not a poor sequel, but it's not a great sequel.
I like it. I mean, well, I like it more than Spider-Man 2, but I'm not a huge fan of Spider-Man 2.
Gotcha.
I like Spider-Man 2. I don't want to sound like I don't like Spider-Man 2. I have so much trouble ordering these things. Like when people say order your Marvel movies, my stomach cramps up.
Remember when Amazing Spider-Man did the same thing? Remember it was that movie, but then it introduced like the Rhino, Black Cat,
Electro,
Fox, and it's just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's like how many different things do I have to worry about at one time? It was too much.
All right, so next question comes from Tom, and he writes, of all the amazing cameos, who was the best? Also, I don't think any other movie in the history of movies has had better cameos. Wow. I think Zombieland with Bill Murray.
Oh, that's a great cameo.
I guess that's a cameo, not cameos.
So they want to know, he's more curious about what movie had better cameos collectively.
Yeah.
Stacked it up.
I mean, you just had a random scene with Matt Damon and Alan Tudyk talking about wiping their butts.
Okay, for me, The Big Short.
Oh yeah, that had a lot of cameos. Yeah, Margot Robbie. I guess when I think of cameos, I guess those are cameos, but I think other extended cameos and then just cameos, because sometimes people just walk in the background.
Like that was a lot, because there was that, and there was it Selena Gomez, and then some economists, and they had probably 2 minutes. But okay,
those are still cameos, though. I guess in my brain, I was thinking cameos are like just walk, like Bill Murray in Get Smart. He's in a tree, then you never see him again for like 30 seconds. But those are cameos.
I don't know which Sharknado sequel it was, but one of the Sharknado sequels actually had a lot of actors approach the Sharknado people and asking to be in it. In addition to the people they asked to be in it, but I think Sharknado 2 had the whole Good Morning America team stabbing a shark. Oh, and right in that scene, you had these 5 Good Morning America cameos with Al Roker and Matt Lauer and Kelly Ripa attacking those movies. Now, I don't know if the quality of the majority of their cameos was super high, but that particular scene with the Good Morning America team, there were a lot of great cameos in those greatly bad Sharknado sequels.
Oh yeah. What about Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back?
That had a lot. Yeah.
Applesauce, Shan Doherty, Tracy Morgan. I liked Ryan Reynolds and Harold and Kumar.
Oh God, Ryan Reynolds cameos are wonderful when they happen. And Channing Tatum and This Is the End.
Oh yeah.
when he was Danny McBride's Gimp.
Oh, that was amazing.
I mean, it's just so wonderful. And in Ted, when Ryan Reynolds was Patrick Warburton's boyfriend or something.
Yeah, boyfriend, and they beat each other up.
Oh God, that was so funny.
Anchorman 2 or Anchorman and Anchorman 2 had a ton of cameos.
Dude, yeah. But now that we're talking about these other movies, I think that we're mentioning movies that have more cameos. But now it's I wish I could see a super clip of the cameos in Deadpool 2 versus theirs to really, I guess you have to watch it too to get a feel for how those cameos fit and complement the movie.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Zoolander, right? They're just interviewing people. It's very in the industry. So
God, that was wonderful.
But see, the cameos are going to happen because it's in the industry.
Right.
So I think just happening in Deadpool or Thor Ragnarok, spoilers on that with Matt Damon popping up. There's just little spoilers like that. I think if it's in the industry, and I think it happens a lot more in comedies, but I did love the Brad Pitt and I did love seeing Alan Tudyk. So I wouldn't, if someone brought that forward and said it uses the best cameos, I wouldn't feel a need to argue with it. I'd be like, I get your point.
There was one really interesting thing about the Alan Tudyk, Matt Damon, and Brad Pitt cameos in this. And that's that, first off, the Matt Damon I didn't even catch. Alan Tudyk, I was like, is that Alan? No, it's not Alan Tudyk. That's like, I was like, I don't know who that is. That's not Alan Tudyk. And when we saw when they just showed, when they were doing the interviews and the Vanisher wasn't even there and they just showed like this weird looking Brad Pitt headshot, I was like, is that Brad Pitt? And you only see it for like a second or a second and a half on screen. I was like, and then I honestly thought to myself, no, that's not Brad Pitt. They just got someone who looked like I kept telling myself, is that? No, it's not. And then later you find out it is, and it seems like kind of more special and funny, even though it wasn't actively a part of my movie viewing experience. It still added to my overall appreciation of the movie. I don't even know how to explain myself right now. But when I heard these things being revealed on the Empire podcast with the interview with Ryan Reynolds, I'm just sitting there like, oh my God, that was Alan Tudyk. And I'm just like smiling. It's like, I can't wait to watch this again.
So yeah, I think my favorite extended cameo is Bill Murray. And I think some of my favorite cameos might be in this movie. I mean, there's other great cameos. I like Luke Wilson in Anchorman, how he keeps getting his arms cut off, but he's more of a side character.
Yeah, so many people in that when they had all the news agencies meeting up to fight. I mean, Vince Vaughn. Well, I guess he wasn't a cameo. He was
Wes Mantooth.
But there were so many actors in those showdowns, and Ben Stiller showed up.
Yeah, I was
from the News Espanol.
and then what? Will Smith and Kanye West and Tina Fey and Amy Poehler and Kirsten Dunst.
Too much.
Yeah. I was on set during all that, and I got a ton of fumes during that week because I did all the taxi cabs. I think I've said that 100 times on the pod. But that was kind of fun to see everyone doing it. It kind of wrecked it when I watched the movie, but it was still pretty cool to see. So you want to move towards, since we got X-Force formed, and we have the whole crew, they're going to go battle Juggernaut and the baddies. Do you want to move towards that?
Yeah, so, well, how did you feel about Juggernaut in general?
I wanted Vinnie Jones, but they couldn't afford it, so it was Ryan Reynolds.
Right, for the voiceover. But, I mean, even the way they made him look, like, what'd you think? Or the demeanor, or the way he behaved?
I liked that he was like, I'm going to rip you in half, and he did.
That was actually pretty appropriate.
And I like that he manhandled Colossus. I like that he was just buds with, like, he was actually pretty nice to Russell. He got his back. Yeah,
because apparently Russell used a plastic pen to remove his collar.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know what? I didn't mind him. I don't think, I think they could.
I just didn't like the way he looked.
Got it. Just very CGI. And they make a comment about that.
It was a little unrefined. I mean, he was cool, though. If they had more money to make him look better with the CGI, even just, in details, if you will. But, I mean, I liked his size. I liked his shape. This huge hulkish form they gave him.
He wasn't. And I love Vinnie Jones, but he wasn't Vinnie Jones in a tiny outfit.
So I'm a little curious, though, and I guess this is just like a writing thing, and maybe they just didn't care because it's a Deadpool movie, but how is he being contained in that prison? Because his helmet is a magical thing. It's not from a mutation.
They probably put something on his leg. They were holding.
But but it contests magic.
Sure.
I guess so.
I mean, it stopped all like everyone else there.
Because all of them had mutations.
Maybe in this version, he's just a big mutant.
He's just a big mutant.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll accept that. I feel like that could have been like one snarky line from Ryan Reynolds breaking a fourth wall to keep me from wondering that.
That's some meta stuff right there. I didn't even think about that, and I love X-Men comics.
No, I mean, Juggernaut is also a mutant. He is super strong. It's just that the helmet gives him he's impervious to the telepathic mind control and mind reading, and it is what gives him, I think, the gift that once he starts moving, he's unstoppable.
So how'd he get so big?
I think that's just him being a mutant.
Ah, got it.
I believe. Now, because I don't know. When I was in the comics,
I quoted you, John. I'm quoted you.
You quoted me?
I just put it on Twitter.
Oh yeah. Oh dear. If it's on the Twitterverse, they're gonna hate rate me over that. I'm gonna get scathed.
When you become famous, that quote's gonna be online. It's gonna be the end of you.
It's like, what does John know about comics? I never said I knew comics. You said this. It's like, oh, I'm ruined.
But no, I mean, I didn't mind him. he was such a small part of the movie, and then they make the comment about the CGI that, and then it all ends with him getting an electrical cord shoved in his butt and pushing.
Oh my God, that was. When they first showed his butt, I was almost rolling my eyes thinking this is even stupid for Deadpool, but then the way that they handled it, I ended up just loving it.
I was like, what?
This is how we do it in Mother Russia. And he jams the wires in his butt. And
it also gave Yukio and Negasonic something to do, so that made me happy.
I want to know how many times in the history of Mother Russia that was done.
I mean, I think... Like, that causes a lot of... you got to fix a lot of stuff once you do that.
Let's not even get into the medical ramifications of that. I think that he had his butthole sealed shut. to avoid being overly graphic, that's my ungraphic comment.
It's just so crazy.
And plus, they showed his big butt. Like, that was just funny. It was like at first it was almost like a Bugs Bunny cartoon when the buttons that are like on your long johns are down.
Now I know we're laughing just about a butt scene, but I have to say that Mike Judge, the creator of Beavis and Butthead and Office Space, you know how he came up with Beavis and Butthead?
No.
He and a bunch of his like really smart buddies were watching music videos and just being really snarky about it, like trying to be like the most intellectual in their insults. And then eventually Mike Judge was like, man, that's just a big butt that's been blown up. And everyone started laughing. And that's how he formed Beavis and Butthead.
I'll take it.
So, yeah, I mean, like, there's just a scene where a guy's pants are pulled down and an electrical cord is shoved in his butt so that's what they do in Mother Russia.
And I like Colossus's fight with him in general, too.
He got knocked out.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot like I like the fight with Colossus, and was her character Angel Dust Gina Carano in part one.
Mm-hmm.
Like I of course, actually, I found that a little less credible just because the physics was out the window. Not that everyone needs to be, care about that in these movies, but it made more sense when you had a really big, heavy Juggernaut and then Colossus, who's just this metal bomb of a being. And so then it made more sense to me that these two big things are pounding on each other and moving each other there. It was cool.
It was smart. You needed to get Juggernaut out of the way to let Deadpool and everyone do their thing. So that was like the most logical fight.
And it gave us a good use for Colossus, other than him being the inexpensive X-Man to put in the movie.
I think my second biggest laugh in the movie is when Josh Brolin got picked up by Juggernaut and thrown in the background. Remember in the background? That was amazing. And I wonder why I didn't rip Cable in half.
So it just occurs to me, what was your take on Cable?
I think he's great. I think Josh Brolin nailed it. He started having more fun towards the end. He started off as like a very, John Connors, a very Terminator role? No, a Terminator, like T-800, coming back to kill somebody because of yada, yada, yada. But he built it throughout. He had a good time with it. I mean, Brolin's 50, he got ripped. And you could just tell that he enjoyed being there. And towards the end, he was just disgusted by the long death scene of Deadpool. And then he decided to stay around and all the fight scenes, he seemed really credible. And I don't know, I just really liked his vibe with them. And you could tell that Brolin was just having fun. And so I liked, what did you think about Cable?
So Cable was one of my absolute favorite comic book characters. And with Cable, they kind of pulled a Bane, where they cast someone who is physically immensely tinier than the character.
Well, they make a joke about that.
Right. Because he's short. He's so small. He's like 5'11". I thought he'd be bigger. But yeah, it's like Cable is like 6'8", 400 pounds. He's basically a Nathan Jones. In the comics.
I just think for this kind of tentpole movie, you need a name. I mean, I don't know if Nathan Jones could carry all that dialogue.
Probably not.
So I mean,
probably not. But I know it's one of those things. It's like, and the same goes with like Bane. And for the same reasons, they did what they did. Again, a Nathan Jones character. But so like I love Cable, and I really liked what Josh Brolin did with him. But to me, it felt Cable-esque. It was a character that I really liked that was Cable-esque.
But like, when you look back at Cable's backstory, it's so crazy. Like technoviruses and like really bonkers stuff. So I guess they really had to
they watered it down. His story is so much more bonkers in the comics.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't fit that in there. Like maybe a prequel, But just to add all that stuff into a Deadpool 2 alongside everybody else, like that just would have drowned everyone. But I think the essence was there, and I think Brolin going forward, he'll be able to have more of a sense of humor with the role, and like, you know, do less of like the I'm grumpy because of this is what happened. I'm really excited to see what happens with him in future. You know, he's probably pissed he has to work out so hard, but
he was in good shape when he was playing Llewellyn in why can't I think of the movie? There will be
No Country for Old Men.
No Country for Old Men, right? He was in good shape then. Of course, you know, I guess that's 10 years ago, and now he's in bigger muscular shape now than I think he's ever been in a movie that I've seen. But I mean, when I see that in a movie, though, like I guess I'm a gym goer, but I mean, I love that. That gets me stoked, because if you're doing that to your body for a movie, I want to believe that you're taking whatever is on paper for your role more thoughtfully.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you know, he went completely. Did you see the thing where he and Ryan Reynolds had an insult battle, and Ryan Reynolds brought up drinking, and Josh Brolin's like, you can't bring up drinking, and Ryan Reynolds was like, oh yeah, your whole team told me that, because you know Brolin used to be like a maniac, so now he's living completely clean. And he's like, I didn't feel any different until Dave Bautista saw me on the set of Avengers working out and was like, holy crap, man. So that's kind of cool.
Dude,
He changed his lifestyle to get in Cable shape.
And that's impressive coming from Bautista, because even though he's a big dude, he got smaller and then actually got bigger again for the movie roles that people wanted him to play. But he actually allowed himself conscientiously to get smaller and focus more on like meditation or something, things like that. And then, you know, as a dude in his late 40s, he had to put that muscle back on after years of having it off. Well, you know, like 10 or 15 pounds of it, you know, but still that's difficult. That is hard. Mm-hmm. And he's older than me, and I'm no menace. I barely look like I go to the gym.
So what'd you think about the very end where they talk Russell out of killing the headmaster, and you know Deadpool? There's a very, very long Monty Python death scene where he dies, comes back, everyone gets annoyed, long montage, but at the end they decide not to kill the headmister. What do they call him? The headmaster of the school, and then Dopinder comes up out of nowhere and just crushes him.
Right, which was wonderful. I gotta say, the stuff leading up to it, the Russell stuff, though, honestly didn't work for Mary very well. The Dopinder kill was wonderful. The long death scene was fun. But boy, all this stuff with Russell and the headmaster, there was something in the execution. I think it was Russell, actually, the character, not the actor. I didn't find his abilities to be of a level of threat that is imposed on the plot lines in this movie.
Got it.
Like his fire ability, like he's basically the Human Torch.
Yeah, he just can't fly.
Oh yeah, and instead he shoots fire, whatever, right? Superheated fire. It's probably way hotter than just a flamethrower. I get that. But like that kind of power, to me, it seems to me that is very containable. It doesn't strike me that he's going to go to the future and wipe out loads and loads and loads of people. Now, wipe out Cable's family. That has nothing to do with that. Any mutant could have come along and done that.
He does say he gets better at it. So maybe he gets better at hiding. Maybe he gets better at becoming almost like a terrorist type person. And I think at the end they could have killed Russell. They just didn't. Like Cable's like, you have 30 seconds. Cable could have sniped him from anywhere at the end. They just want to save him.
That's part of it too, though. I just feel like it would have been easier to put an end to Russell.
Really? Kill Russell?
And no, it would have been easier for Cable than it was depicted in the movie.
Oh, got it.
Like he's going about it in like the path of most resistance, to put it basically.
Oh,
He's like, oh, I'm going to go through Deadpool. I'm going to go through this prison. I'm going to go through. He could have done it in so many other ways. And the way that he ended up going, for the sake of a fun movie, was the path of most resistance. But again, as a result of, I never found Russell as a threat to be credible. I just think that they staged it all where it was difficult to handle Russell.
Got it.
But I like the actor. I like the character that they showed me on screen. It was just the threat that he posed that I I never quite bought, but I bought that headmaster needed to die.
Yeah.
Like, they don't get into any specifics, but I mean, he's straight up torturing these kids he's like exorcising demons out of them in his head while he's screaming lines of the Bible. Like, that was really creepy and weird to me.
I don't know why you're calling him Russell, because it's Ricky Baker.
Ricky Baker.
Yeah,
Shake and bake, Ricky Bobby.
That whole thing was not needed with that headmaster. I'm like, it was just one too many. Like, the first Deadpool just had Francis and
Right.
and Haywire going crazy.
Right, it was Francis and his henchmen that didn't need stories.
And they weren't even they weren't even built as credible bad guys. Like, Deadpool wipes out Francis in the beginning easily on the motorcycle.
Right.
So it's like, the only reason he was going after Francis was to get fixed, and Francis is like, "You're an idiot because I don't have it," and then he gets killed. So,
right.
Like, I don't even think you almost need to establish credible villains in the Deadpool world. Does that make sense? Like, yes, they probably make it better, but there hasn't been like a really villain yet that's been super credible.
No, it makes me wonder if they're going to use Strife in like the X-Force or a Deadpool 3 movie.
Bishop.
Is a bad guy?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was very anti-heroish for a lot of his comic life. Well, in the 90s when I was watching it. I don't know what he's like now.
And then just have him become good and join X-Force. It's like Fast 7. It's like the Fast movies. The villains become part of the team.
Right. Juggernaut's going to be a part of it now.
Yeah, Bishop comes up and kills.
If Jason Statham can kill your best buddy and then join the crew and high five you the next movie, then why not Juggernaut?
Dude, that's insane. Like, it annoys me that the Rock is like, you killed 42 people, but you did some good things. Like, we're friends now.
I had to bring it up.
I hate it.
I had to bring it up.
Jason Statham killed Han.
Yeah.
Han was family. Like, that makes
sorry,
no sense whatsoever.
I had to bring it up.
All right. So, final thoughts about Deadpool 2?
I'm just going to round back from where I started. This is a super duper fun movie, and I can't wait to buy it. I can't wait to watch it again. I can't wait to buy it for a high price just to get it sooner and watch it again. All of my major disappointment wells when I specifically compare it to Deadpool 1, which isn't fair. I realize. But yeah, so I mean, I had a great time with it.
I feel weird nitpicking it because it's just it's such like it's just Deadpool. Like, it's just meant to entertain. So there are nitpicks, but I don't feel comfortable nitpicking, which is a bad thing to do.
I saw them back to back, man. It was a world of difference of entertainment level, though.
I got it.
It really was. It's just, but again, I loved it. I did, but I loved it. And Domino, that was the big surprise that I didn't expect. You brought it up. How well she worked on screen, the actress, and the way that they wrote her in, and the action sequences like that. She had some of the best moments in the movie.
Zazie Beetz? Yeah, she was awesome.
What else was she in?
She's in Atlanta. She was in Geostorm. But like I said, when's the last time a character has just popped on screen so quickly?
Oh, she was great though.
All right, hey, so before we go, I got an interesting mailbag from Chris Kelly that I got to let you guys know. It's going to take a while, but I just want to read it, all right?
Okay.
This is from Chris Kelly, and we've been getting mailbag submissions, so send one in. We'd be happy to have them. I was talking to Mark a while ago about if y'all did an episode on the Blair Witch Project. I would have liked to help because I have a story that goes with those movies that probably not too many people have. After voting for my Kurt Russell movie choice for the 150th episode, I realized that you did an episode on the Blair Witch already. Oh well, here's my story. The first Blair Witch film was made in Burkittsville and Rockville, Maryland. Maryland? Yeah. Which is roughly about 45 minutes away from where I'm from, Chambersburg, PA. Whenever I was in the 8th grade, all of these missing person posters started popping up at my local convenience stores, gas stations, etc. I remember looking at them and thinking, man, that sucks those guys are missing. I wonder what happened. And as small towns work, people started coming up with their own theories about these people. Oh yeah, you remember Mike? He's so-and-so and so on. and the one that likes the Baltimore Orioles, making up what they thought the real stories were about the actors. 6 months later, Blair Witch Project hit, and the area went bonkers for a few months. I saw the movie in the theater with a friend of mine whose dad actually worked at one of the schools in Burkittsville. And I remember him saying, I never heard of a Blair Witch legend in that town, but why not make a buck out of something? Out of nowhere, all the posters went missing and started appearing on eBay because Blair Witch Mania started taking over, and people were literally flocking from all over and would take the missing posters, also stealing sticks and stones and local monuments. The beginning of Book of Shadows was fairly factual, and after the second movie, though, it all sort of died out. Also, please do a podcast about good movies with horrible titles. I mentioned it to Mark earlier that I nominate Now You See Me as my choice. On the flip side of that, please do a podcast about horrible movies with great titles. My nomination is Skinwalkers.
Can I just start by reacting to the fact that his 2 podcast ideas are actually really clever ideas?
Yeah, they're great.
and he's in it. So at some point he was asking about Blair Witch. So we did the Blair Witch 1999 versus 2016 episode. That was episode 76, about a year and a half ago.
And oddly enough,
we did that.
John, the first time I ever met Chris Kelly was on Anchorman 2, which we talked about earlier. He was driving one of the cabs that I was having sent around. And I worked with him on a bunch of movies. He's been in the industry for a long time. And, he wanted to do Blair Witch, but it's pretty interesting that people started stealing those posters.
This is really interesting to me. So what he said about what was happening after the Blair Witch movie came out in his area, and the way that Blair Witch 2 starts with the star, the dude who was also in Burn Notice, Donovan.
Yeah, Jeffrey Donovan.
Jeffrey Donovan. So like his character and everything, but I'm actually very much a Book of Shadows apologist because I think it's wonderful and misunderstood. Most people were like, oh, it's terrible, this, that, and the other, like whether or not they liked the first one. And I loved Book of Shadows. I enjoyed Book of Shadows more than I enjoyed the original movie.
Say what?
No, really, I loved Book of Shadows from the first time I saw it to every rewatch. And so, but it's interesting when he's bringing up all the stuff that happened and saying that was very true to reality. What happened after the first movie with how they started Blair Witch 2? Like I would have never. I just figured they were just writing a cool plot line to do their semi found footage sequel.
Yeah, this is a good mailbag. We want more of these, don't we?
No, this is – I learned something here. This is really cool.
We should do a mailbag episode.
Oh, yeah.
I would just read for an hour and a half.
Just monologuing these.
But Chris Kelly, he's a longtime listener, a good friend of ours, so thanks for this, man. And this is a cool story. Like, I do remember that mania of that movie. I saw it in the theater, I think, at 2 a.m. I saw it on a Thursday night screening before the movie came out on a Friday, and it shook me up.
The first one or the second one?
First one. I never saw the second one. But I saw the third one, which listen to the podcast.
You mean the giant naked Sasquatch movie?
Jeez Louise. All right. Do you have any plugs before we head out?
Just a couple this week. So typical plugs, but whatever. John Weidler, that's Johnny Num on Twitter, and Billy Crash, who's at Crash Palace on Twitter. They were sharing all over Facebook and Twitter our Babysitter Pod, which is a really fun pod for a really celebrated movie. I guess I shouldn't be surprised that's getting a lot of share action. But they've been really supportive and are always joining the conversation, so thanks there. And also Gina, who contributed a mailbag last episode and a question 2 episodes ago about the Cure for Wellness when she trademarked Obsession Lab. Well, she got herself on iTunes and gave us a 5-star rating. So, Gina, thank you for the 5-star rating. Gina, you rock. This is the song I just made up. It's not even very rhythmic, is it?
It's working.
Gina!
Oh, that was a good one.
So, in the future, if people give us a 5-star rating and I can know about it, I'm willing to go Mark Wahlberg Rockstar and give you a shout out. Oh God, I hope I'm not like cracking glass.
And I will sing chorus as Timothy Oliphant from Rockstar.
Oh, dude, wonderful role. I love that movie. Yeah, that's another movie that a lot of people hate, like Book of Shadows, but I love it. And I'm not going to say names because I don't know if this person would appreciate this, but I just learned today that a very good friend of our pod had a bit of a health scare And to that friend of our pod, if you're listening, really hope you are well. And I really hope you get back to doing what you love doing, which is writing about and talking about film. So to that listener, and again, I just want to respect their privacy. But it kind of shocked me when I was in the car on the drive home when I found out about something. So, my thoughts go out to you, and I hope that you get to listen to this and enjoy it like I do. Read and listen to your work. And also, Mark, do you have any plugs? Do you have anything you need to tell our listeners? And do you have anything you want to say about next week?
Chris Kelly, that son of a bitch. It's an inside joke. But thank you for that. Go on YouTube, type in Home for the Holiday with Chris Kelly. He made a really bleak, dark horror short that got a lot of attention in Atlanta. Watch his horror stuff. He made some really good short videos. And then make sure to head to iTunes and rate, review, and subscribe to Movies, Films, and Flicks. We want to know what you think. We're trying to build the brand. And, if you got a minute, if you're bored, if you're just surfing on Facebook, just flip there real quick and do it. Don't take the busy time out of your day, but if you have time to waste, go ahead and do that for us.
Get a bad rock ballad like Gina!
Oh, yeah! And then next week we will be talking about either Solo or Kickboxer... More Faces Kickbox. It's on Netflix, 2018 movie. I think it's Retaliation, Kickboxer Retaliation. It's one or the other, so maybe watch those in preparation for that. And so thank you guys. Thank you for everything. So for me, Mark Hoffmeyer and John Levingood, this is Movies, Films, and Flicks. We'll see you next week.